Time is running out. At TheorySabers.com, we're giving away one free saber with every single saber purchase. We also just launched our new light side and dark side robes. You guys are reviewing them on social media and are absolutely loving it. So make sure you order before the 18th of October to get your sabers in the mail before Halloween. We have over 150 different sabers to choose from, all with our exclusive fonts, our music, our sounds, and our amazing customer support because we actually care. But right now, I'm really digging these new robes. Use code BOGO at checkout, and we'll see you soon.
Most of us know about the final battle of Return of the Jedi, which takes place over Endor. Well, the forest moon of Endor. The Death Star, the space battle, and Luke's final confrontation with Vader and the Emperor all happening in one climactic sequence. But this wasn't the original plan. In 1981, George Lucas had a completely different idea for how the trilogy would end. The Emperor's headquarters wasn't on a half-finished Death Star. It was a dark, gothic world, the capital of the Empire, called Had Abbadon. In the making of Return of the Jedi, Lucas described Had Abaddon as a world covered entirely by city, the imperial home base. In the book, Ralph McQuarrie's paintings show Vader leading Luke through towering metallic corridors, heading toward the Emperor's fortress in what George called Imperial City. It's essentially Coruscant years before the prequel trilogy. McQuarrie later says this: "We worked on this Imperial City a long time. It's elaborate and quite pretty, but you can only do a little bit of this or that. George feels you shouldn't describe everything. Instead, you're just swept into the scene." The original plan was for the film to end with a massive ground-based assault on Had Abaddon. The rebels weren't fighting to destroy a Death Star, they were invading the Empire's capital itself. George explains this clearly. He says, "It would be interesting when the planet goes dark. You give them a very specific target that will essentially shut down the whole planet." Now in this version, the Emperor's throne room wasn't floating in space. It was deep inside a colossal fortress at the heart of the city. The Emperor, Vader, and Luke's confrontation would have happened amid the chaos of this battle, as the rebels bombed the surface from above. Now Kasdan loved the concept, calling Had Abaddon worth saving and arguing it should be the nerve center of the Empire, as he called it, where George agreed, initially saying this: "The Emperor is on Had Abaddon. The shield is on the moon that's protecting it. The trap is the fleet is going to come in, but the shield will be in force." Now the storyboards show the moon functioning like Endor in the final movie, but instead of protecting a Death Star, it shielded the Emperor's capital world from rebel attack. The rebels' goal was to destroy the shield and bomb the city, shutting down the Empire's heart once and for all. And visually, Had Abaddon would have been haunting. McQuarrie's designs depict tall spires and cathedrals jutting from the endless cityscape, lit by an eerie crimson glow. It's clear that the imagery inspired what later became Coruscant in The Phantom Menace and the prequels. Now in this early draft, Luke's confrontation with Vader and the Emperor takes place not above the forest moon, but inside the Imperial Citadel on the planet's surface, with explosions and fire raining down outside as the rebellion's final assault tears the city apart. Now Kasdan has one concern here. He thought the Death Star made for a cleaner, more manageable climax. He says, "I think Had Abaddon is worth saving, but the Death Star is manageable. The planet is not manageable at all. It's too big to be manageable." So finally, George agreed. The logistics of depicting a full-scale city world being bombed were just too much for the film's budget and technology at the time. ILM could handle space battles, but not an entire planetary war. So eventually, George simplified the story due to the time and technology. He kept the idea of a trap, a shield, a rebel fleet, the climactic battle, but he moved it all to the unfinished Death Star orbiting a forest moon. Had Abaddon was cut, though a bit of its DNA did live on. Now, if you ask me, Had Abaddon obviously seems like a way cooler idea, and it's not just a redone version of, the Death Star again, just bigger and kind of unfinished. But given the budget and of course the constraints with technology, I can see why George decided to go with a bit of a more manageable option. Now, years later, when George would make The Phantom Menace, he did bring the concept back. The city-covered imperial capital became Coruscant, and its design was based directly on Ralph McQuarrie's 1981 concept paintings for Had Abaddon. Now, McQuarrie said this himself best. He said, "It's elaborate and quite pretty, but you can only do a little bit of this or that. It's in the nature of what George set out to do, the tremendously vast conflict where the figures are seen only briefly." Had Abaddon was the dark mirror of Coruscant, an imperial city of endless spires, pollution, and oppression. Now, if Return of the Jedi had kept that setting, then Luke's duel with Vader would have taken place in the heart of the Empire itself, with the sky burning and rebel bombers streaking overhead. I mean, it would have been unbelievably cinematic. It's kind of hard not to imagine what this could have looked like, a very gothic, apocalyptic finale to the trilogy. Very dark side, very Blade Runner almost. But instead, Lucas, decided to just strip it to its essentials. Just take, the Son, the Father, the Emperor, isolate them in space, removed from armies and planets, and just kind of a more personal redemption, not more of a galactic one. While I think Had Abaddon would have been extremely cinematic and beautiful to see, and really just made everything so much more grandiose, this also does make it more personal, the way that we got it, right? Because it is just isolated with Luke, Vader, and the Emperor on the Death Star in his throne room. It's extremely personal. But that being said, we did at least get a little bit of Had Abaddon later with Coruscant. However, it would have been cool if we got to see, the inverse of that, which is Had Abaddon in Return of the Jedi. So the next time you guys are watching the prequel trilogy and you see the skylines of Coruscant, just remember that you're looking at a planet that was first imagined for Return of the Jedi, the Empire's heart of darkness. And I hope maybe one day we'll see it again in some sort of medium. Let me know what you guys think. Do you like the original ending of Return of the Jedi or this one? Which actually, I guess this would have been the real original. Let me know below. Hope you have a great day. Check out TheorySabers.com for all of your saber needs. We're having a big sale right now, and I'll see you in the next episode of Star Wars Theory. Until then, remember, the Force will be with you, always.
Now, fulfill your destiny.
Take advantage of the sale right now because this BOGO is going fast.